Welcome into your WWE Raw review for the show from April 27th, 2015. I am your host, Vigilante Mario, back with another solo video here at Project PipeBomb. Going to go over the Raw from last night. Did not get a chance to do it live right after the show last night because, it wasn't such an amazing show that I had to get right on it. So I just decided to wait till the day to do it. So now here I am, and let's just get right down to it. So the show kicks off with the video package going over the King of the Ring tournament from the past. Showing all the different people who won it and stuff. So a little hype video for the King of the Ring, which made its return tonight. Last night on Raw. And Seth Rollins comes out with Kane, Joey Mercury, and Jamie Noble, and he cuts another long-ass promo. So he says that Orton found out what everyone else had known for a long time already, that you cannot outsmart Seth Rollins. Rollins brags on building and destroying the Shield and winning the WrestleMania 31 main event. Rollins says he's proved that he will be a fighting champion, and then a big "You Suck" chant breaks out. It's nice to see that the fans came up with a different chant for Seth Rollins other than "You sold out, you sold out," because that chant was just getting annoying already. It's like the yes chant, it's run its course. And then Rollins calls his RKO to Orton last night an SKO. And Rollins turns and thanks Kane for doing what was best for business last night. Rollins calls Kane the Crypt Keeper and jokingly compares him to the classic character from the 90s. Rollins fumbles his words as Kane looks to be getting upset. Kane says if he would have worked his role last night, then Orton would be champion and Rollins wouldn't be out here whining like the spoiled brat that he is. Kane says he would rather be the company's version of the Crypt Keeper than the version of Justin Bieber. And then we get some big Justin Bieber chants. Rollins says Kane is just jealous, and they just argue for a little while. And then Randy Orton's music hits, and he comes out to a pretty decent pop. Orton speaks out from the stage, and they have a little exchange of words. Rollins says Orton had his one shot at the title and squandered it. Orton calls Rollins Catwoman and tells him to shut up. Roman Reigns' music hits next, and out he comes to the crowd. Reigns stands on top of the announcer's table and declares himself the last man standing. He says the Authority is missing their giant because he buried him at Extreme Rules. Reigns tells Orton that all due respect, but he's the one who deserves a title shot. Reigns tells Kane he's the one who should be given the shot. Rollins says Reigns and Orton both have lost to him. Kane says he's going to do what's best for business tonight. He says it's time for he and Rollins to put their differences aside to show the real power of the Authority in a tag team match against Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. Kane says he will also let the universe decide Rollins' payback match tonight. And then, we go to a commercial. So we start at Raw again with a long 15-minute promo. I'm sure it wasn't Triple H or Stephanie McMahon cutting it, but it was Seth Rollins again. And, his promos are just, I don't know. I'm not saying that he's a terrible talker, but I'm not saying that his promos are the best thing that goes on Raw. He just drags it out too much. Those promos are just too long. And it takes him a while to get to a point, and it's just a waste of time, to be honest with you. So, that's that. Setup. It was a setup for the main event and for the payback match and stuff. But they could have done it in 5 to 8 minutes, easy. But like I said, we went to a commercial after that promo, and then we come back with a King of the Ring first round match. Dolph Ziggler versus Bad News Barrett. And out comes Ziggler and Barrett, and then we get a sidebar video from earlier where Ziggler says that Extreme Rules was the most humiliating moment of his life. But there will be payback for Sheamus, so, that's basically saying that there's going to be another match at Payback. And then Bad News Barrett comes out next, and then we get another sidebar video from Barrett, and the bell rings, and they go at it. Barrett takes control of Ziggler with an elbow for a 2 count. Ziggler turns it around and sends Barrett to the floor as we go back to commercial. And, this is basically every match. They start at the match kind of a little fast-paced, and then they hit a commercial in like the 2 to 3 minute mark of the match, which is getting really annoying. I'd rather have them do the commercials after, segments instead of in between matches, But, you got to get your sponsors out there. So we're back from the commercial break, and Barrett has Ziggler in a, grounded position like they usually do. Just look at that. When they come back from commercial, what move do they have on their opponent? A headlock in the middle of the ring every time. So, like I said, he has him in a headlock in the ring, and they show a highlight of during the break where Barrett hit a big boot to take control of the match. Ziggler makes a comeback, and Barrett runs into the ring post. And Ziggler with more offense and a splash in the corner. Barrett blocks the neckbreaker but misses a boot. Ziggler counters, wins the change, and rolls Barrett up for a 2. Barrett goes for a waistline, but it's turned into a DDT for a 2 count. Barrett catches a kick and catapults Ziggler into the turnbuckle, and Barrett nails waistline for a 2 count. So, they've got a pretty nice pace going on. Nothing too crazy, but at this point, I'm pretty happy with the match. Barrett readies for a bullhammer, but Ziggler ducks and nails a super kick for a close 2 count. Sheamus comes out with the mic as fans boo the hell out of him, and he speaks from the stage and reminds Ziggler that there was a full Irish moon last night. Funny. Showing us a photo from their post-match angle, which is where Ziggler, I guess kissed Sheamus's arse. Freaking stupid. Ziggler gets upset and turns around to a bullhammer, giving Barrett the win. So Barrett moves on in the tournament, and Sheamus just stands there laughing. JBL says Triple H isn't here, so Kane is in charge. And they just show like little ads to still to come, Kane and Rollins versus Orton and Reigns. And then we see the New Day backstage clapping as we go to the commercial. The match was decent for what it was. I think Barrett and Ziggler did what they had to do to make the match somewhat watchable. I get why Ziggler didn't go over, but I would have just liked to have had Ziggler become King of the Ring. Because I think we all know that he's one of the top guys, they're top baby faces, and he can go in the ring. I'm a Ziggler fan, so I would have liked to have seen that. But I get where they're going with the tournament, so I'm all for that. So next we get a match between Big E versus Tyson Kidd. After the break, the New Day comes out. The new tag team champions, of course, because they won it at Extreme Rules, which I am not a fan of the New Day. But I guess the tag team division's pretty, stale right now. They don't really have anything going on. So why not? Xavier Woods and Big E are wearing the titles. Woods takes the mic and declares that they are the champions. Woods thanks all the clappers out there who clapped away their troubles. Woods tries to get them to chant New Day rocks instead of New Day sucks. But it doesn't work, obviously, because, they're not over. People just do not like, the team. Tyson Kidd is out next with Cesaro and Natalya. Kidd goes to work on Big E to start out the match, but Big E overpowers him. Kidd fights in from the apron and kicks Big E in the face. Kidd with the springboard drop kick and more offense in the corner. Kidd with another big kick to the face from the apron. They come back in the ring, and Big E nails a big clothesline, and Woods holds Kid's leg down to help him with the pin. So your winner, Big E. It was a pretty short match, as you could probably tell. Nothing too crazy, but I do kind of see where they're going with Cesaro and Kid. They're slowly transitioning them to baby faces and the New Day to heels, which I'm all for that because Cesaro and Tyson Kidd are over with the crowd, obviously, and the New Day isn't. So I mean, why not just turn them both? So we get stills from the Russian Change match at Extreme Rules and hype for the I Quit match at Payback between John Cena and Rusev. And then we go to commercial, and we come back, and it's Ryback versus Bo Dallas. We go to the ring, and out comes Ryback. And then Bo Dallas comes out, and Bo cuts a promo, and they go at it to start the match. Ryback ends up getting the win with his finisher. Again, it was another, I wouldn't call it a squash match. It just lasted about 3 to 4 minutes. Nothing too special, just Ryback going over. So after the match, Ryback is celebrating, but the lights go out. And this has been rumored for this past weekend. That Bray Wyatt is gonna go in a feud with Ryback, and well, there you have it. Now we do that. So the lights go out. They come back and on. The lights come back on. Sorry. Bray Wyatt is standing behind Ryback. Wyatt drops Ryback with the Sister Abigail and does his spider walk thing, which I don't know, but man, for a guy that size to be able to do like that, it's pretty impressive. I can't even do that. And I mean, I'm big, but I'm not big. So yeah, setting up a feud with Ryback and Bray Wyatt, which I'm all for. Ryback is over for the most part. I like Ryback. He's come a long way since he first came in. He's gotten a lot better to the ring and a lot better on the mic. So I'm all for Ryback getting a meaningful feud with a guy like Bray Wyatt because I like both of these guys. So, and I don't know who should go over in this feud, but I'm definitely excited to see what they do with this one. So we go to a commercial break, and then we come back, and out comes the United States champion, John Cena. He talks about Extreme Rules and being a fighting champion, giving Rusev another shot at Payback, and then he announces the U.S. Open Challenge, and out comes Heath Slater to answer the challenge. He comes out for a promo, but Rusev appears and knocks him off the stage. Rusev sends Lana to the back and cuts a promo on beating Cena at Payback. So we didn't get a match. Like I said, Rusev just kind of kicked Heath Slater's ass and knocked him out. And I don't know what they're doing with Lana right now because Rusev came out with Lana, but Lana is just like waving at the crowd the whole time, and the crowd was definitely all over Lana. And Rusev just kind of sent her to the back again, like he did at Extreme Rules. So, I don't know. I think they're going to have Lana turn on Rusev at some point. Which, I mean, I'm not, pro that, I guess you could say. Because having Lana there as his, the mic worker for Rusev is good for Rusev. Because, he cuts decent promos, but Lana really gets that heat. So, but Lana's over with the crowd, so it's gonna be kind of hard keeping her heel for any longer. So that's that. And then we get a backstage segment with the Authority. Fans can vote for Orton, Reigns, or Orton and Reigns in a triple threat as Rollins' opponent for Payback. And then we get another King of the Ring match between Stardust and R-Truth. R-Truth comes out first, and we get a sidebar video from him. His first order as king will be to rid the company of all spiders. Okay. Stardust is out next, and he also has a sidebar video from earlier. His destiny is to sit on the throne, he says on the video. They go at it, and Truth goes for an early pin. Stardust comes back, and the fans chant Cody at him. Truth kicks out of a pin attempt, but Stardust keeps control. Stardust with a big kick to the mouth, a stomp, and another 2 count. Stardust drops down with a kick to the head for another pin attempt. Truth ends up catching Stardust with the lie detector out of nowhere. Um, yeah, Stardust was gonna go for some kind of, I think, the springboard kick he used to do as Cody, but Archer just kind of jumped up and caught him in his finisher. So it was a pretty neat spot. The match didn't last long. Another like 5 minute match. But we get R-Truth as your winner, so he moves on in the tournament as well. So then after that match, we get Fandango versus Adam Rose. Fandango comes out with his old theme song, and the whole crowd's fandangoing. So I guess he's a babyface now, but he didn't really get a huge babyface pop. Um, and Adam Rose is in the ring already, and Rose ends up getting the win after Rosa Mendes, dressed as a rosebud, provided the assist. Um, I personally do not like this feud because I don't like either Adam Rose or Fandango's characters. I like them both as wrestlers, but just not their characters. I think Johnny Curtis would have gotten over a lot more than Fandango, and Adam Rose as Leo Kruger would have been awesome in the main roster. Um, After the match, Rosa takes the mic and can't believe Fandango picked the fans over her. She says Rose will love her for the flower that she is. They start kissing and fall on the mat together, making out. So another meaningless segment with Rosa Mendes and Adam Rose. And then we go to Renee Young in backstage area with Brie Bella to discuss the status of the Intercontinental Champion Daniel Bryan, which has been out for a couple of weeks now. He wasn't on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view due to injuries. He's not clear to compete, rather. Renee asks how concerned she is and when he will be back in the ring. Bree says that this has been such a hard time for Bryan, and he loves the company more than anything in the world. She says every day he is out, it weighs on him, and it weighs on them. She says only time can tell how long Bryan will be out. She says Bryan cares so much about the fans, and then she gets knocked out by Naomi with a shot to the mouth. Naomi says that nobody cares about Brie or her husband, and she walks off. Setting up the match that we have next, which is Naomi versus Brie Bella. Uh, the champion Nikki Bella is out there with her sister Brie, and Naomi comes out next. Brie immediately attacks and takes Naomi down. She connects with the spear, and they brawl on the mat. Naomi connects with the cheap shot and takes control of the match. Naomi with a big shot in the corner and a backbreaker for a 2 count. Brie looks to make a comeback, but Naomi drop kicks her and talks trash as fans. Yeah, that's my train of thought. As fans boo. Naomi with the leg drop and a 2 count. Brie turns it around and slaps Naomi on her face. Brie keeps control and hits the running knee to the jaw. Brie with the missile drop kick for a 2 count. Naomi with a kick to the face and a roll up for the win. So your winner is Naomi. And I gotta say this first. The match she had with Nikki Bella at Extreme Rules was actually pretty decent. I gotta give him credit for that. I enjoyed the match to a certain extent. It wasn't any, Sasha Banks versus Charlotte match or anything like that. But, it was pretty decent for a Divas match. They had a lot of time as well. I think it was like an 8 to 10 minute match, so it was pretty long for a Divas match. And they did pretty well. This match was just, whatever, just trying to get more heat on Naomi, which I think is working because, a lot of fans are booing. So it's working to a certain extent. So then after that match, we get another King of the Ring match between Dean Ambrose and Sheamus. Where was it? They lock up and go at it. Sheamus takes it to the corner, and they trade holds coming back out of the corner. Sheamus drops Ambrose with the shoulder tackle. Ambrose turns it around and ties Sheamus up in a submission. They get up and Sheamus connects with the big right. Sheamus takes it to the corner, but Ambrose whips him across the ring and clotheslines him. Sheamus counters a bulldog, but Ambrose knocks him through the rope to the floor. Ambrose goes for a dive, but puts on the brakes as Sheamus moves out of the way. And then we go to the commercial. Then we come back from commercial, and Ambrose is fighting back, but Sheamus cuts him off with the knee. During the break, Ambrose got sent into the ring post. Sheamus with the big modified suplex and boos from the crowd as he poses. Sheamus kicks Ambrose in the head and keeps up the offense. Ambrose comes back with the rebound with his big rebound clothesline, and they both go down. Sheamus cuts him off with another big slam. Ambrose dodges a brogue kick and rolls Sheamus out for a 2. Ambrose sends Sheamus into the ring post, and then Ambrose nails a dive to the floor, and they both go down again. Ambrose brings it back into the ring and goes to the top rope for the elbow drop while Sheamus is standing, but he rolls through. Sheamus with the backbreaker and a 2 count. Sheamus goes for a white noise, but it's countered for a 2 count. Ambrose gets blocked, and Sheamus locks in the cloverleaf submission. Ambrose makes it to the bottom rope and breaks the hold. Sheamus tries for the forearms on the apron, but Ambrose fights back and goes to the top, this time hitting the elbow drop while Sheamus is standing for a 2 count. They brawl on the floor, and Ambrose nails him off the announce table. Ambrose sends Sheamus into the ring post. Sheamus nails a brogue kick on the floor. Dolph Ziggler runs out and attacks Sheamus for disqualification. So your winner by disqualification is Sheamus. I see why he went over too. I wanted Ambrose to go over just like as much as I wanted Ziggler to go over. But I see where they're going, and I'll talk more about that later in the review. So, yeah, Sheamus moves on, and then we go to a commercial break. And then we come back from commercial break, and we see a clip of Summer Rae turning on Damien Sandow to help The Miz last week. Yes, his name is Damien Sandow now. He changed it back. Sandow is in the ring, and fans cheer him. Sandow introduces himself as Damien Sandow and says he's never going to come out there and lie to the fans. He says he came to the WWE with the blue bathrobe 3 years ago with the idea he would enlighten everybody. He says we know how that ended up. Sandow says he was told to his face that he's not entertaining enough, and fans boo. Sandow says Sandow says what followed wasn't him losing his mind. It was a quest to entertain people. He shows us some of his impersonations like Bret Hart, Magneto, LeBron James, and Vince McMahon. He brings up the Mizdow character and fans boo. He says Mizdow caused him to lose a lot of respect among his peers, but he gained something that means more, the respect of the fans. Sandow says the connection he has with the fans is the most valuable thing he can have as a superstar. He thanks fans and says without them he wouldn't be here. A thank you Sandow chant starts, and he says they're welcome. The music interrupts, and out comes Curtis Axel. So Axel tells us not to change the channel because Axelmania is running wild. Axel says he can't stand a guy who doesn't know who he is and is trying to be someone else. Sandow mocks Axel, and he gets upset. Axel orders Sandow to get out of the ring, and fans boo. Sandow mocks him again. Axel charges, and Sandow fires back with right hands. Sandow hits a big boot and looks to drop the big leg drop, but hits the elbow of the stain instead. Sandow sends Axel out to the floor, and his new theme song hits. And I like the direction they're going with Sandow. With the whole babyface thing. I don't like his gimmick though. They're still sticking with him mocking people. Like he did with Curtis Axel last night, and like he did with The Miz and his other characters. And I don't know. I'm sure it's gotten him over, but they could have gone in a different direction. But as long as we have Sandow on TV for for a while, that's good. So that's fine. So after that segment, we have a Bray Wyatt backstage promo. for Ryback. He says what happened tonight was just the beginning and tells Ryback to run. And then we go to another commercial. And then we come back from a commercial and we see some Tough Enough audition videos. And I've seen a couple of friends on those videos actually. And it's pretty cool that that they were on TV and whatnot. But you know, this just shows that NXT is no longer a developmental system. You know, it's not, you know, what it used to be. It's its own brand now. So now we have Tough Enough, which is a developmental system, which is awesome. Well, it's not developmental because you're getting guys who've wrestled before on there. But, you know, that just goes to show that NXT is its own brand now. So I'm all for that. I'm losing my voice. So after the Tough Enough audition videos, we get the last King of the Ring match of the night, which was Neville versus Luke Harper. Neville comes out with the big entrance like he usually does, and then we get a sidebar video with him, with Neville talking about the tournament, even mentioning Owen Hart in his promo. Neville says he will defy gravity to become King of the Ring. Luke Harper is out next, and they lock up, and Neville tries to go for an early roll up. They run to the ropes, and Neville sends Harper to the floor. Neville ends up hitting a Hurricane Rana from the apron to a big pop. They come back in, and Harper turns it around. And then we go to the commercial break with Harper in control. Back from the break, and Neville fights out of a headlock. Harper charges, and Neville sends him through the ropes. Harper comes back in and misses a big boot in the corner, landing back on the floor. Neville goes to the apron and kicks Harper in the mouth. Neville hits a big moonsault to a huge pop. And I mean, this moonsault was, this guy is just amazing, man. The man gravity left behind, that's right. I'm a huge Neville fan. Where was it? Neville brings it back to the ring and hits a springboard dropkick. Neville keeps on the offense, but Harper cuts him off and takes control of the match. Neville blocks a powerbomb and hits a German suplex, which for a guy his size, hitting a German suplex like that on a guy Luke Harper's size is just beyond me. The guy's built like a tank. You know, he may be short, but man, that guy can lift weights. Neville hits a big kick to the head, but Harper catches him with the sit-down powerbomb for a 2 count. Harper hits some uppercuts in the corner, and he takes Neville up to the top, but Neville ends up powerbombing him to the mat. Neville goes to the top and hits the red arrow finishing move, for the win. So, you know, your winner, Neville, moving on in the tournament. And this is gonna be pretty out there, but I think Neville is gonna win the tournament. You know, because I don't see Bad News Barrett winning, I don't see R-Truth winning it, and I don't see Sheamus doing it again. So I'm sure Neville's gonna win against Sheamus because of Ziggler's interference or something like that. And then Barrett's just gonna beat R-Truth, and then, you know, Neville's gonna beat Barrett in the finals. And I'm all for Neville getting that decent push, you know, as King of the Ring. So after this, we get to the main event, finally. It's Roman Reigns and Randy Orton versus Kane and Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns makes his way to the ring through the crowd, and we go to commercial. We come back from the commercial, and out comes Randy Orton to a pop. Kane is out next, followed by the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins with Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble. Kane and Rollins shake hands before heading to the ring together. The bell rings, and a Justin Bieber chant breaks out again. Rollins and Reigns start things off. Rollins goes to the floor for a breather early on. He talks with Kane and J&J before coming back in. They go to lock up, and Rollins unloads with kicks. Reigns catches Rollins in a big tilt-a-whirl slam, which looked pretty nice. I'll give Reigns that. Reigns works Rollins over in the corner and tags in Orton for some double teaming. Orton drops Rollins over the top rope and stomps him. Orton drops a knee as fans chant RKO. Orton hits a uppercut and tags Reigns back in Rollins slides out of a move and goes back to the floor. He comes back in and tags in Kane. Kane gets Reigns in a headlock, and Reigns turns it into a side slam. Reigns hit a big right hand and tagged to Orton as they keep Kane in the corner. Orton takes Kane to the other corner with some more strikes. Kane drops Orton with the big boot, and Kane takes Orton to the corner and unloads as Rollins comes back in. He stomps away in the corner and tosses Orton to the floor. Noble gets a cheap shot in as we go to commercial. We're back to the commercial, and Rollins has Orton down on the mat. Orton fights back, but Rollins slams him by his neck for a 2 count. Kane applauds Rollins as he keeps control of Orton. Orton comes back with a T-bone suplex out of nowhere, and Kane and Reigns tag in at the same time. Reigns unloads and takes Kane to the corner with a bunch of forearms and a right hand. Well, not forearms. He was hitting those multiple clotheslines he does now. Which, yes, he does hit a lot of clotheslines in his matches. I didn't count how many he did in this match, but I'm pretty sure it was quite a few. So Reigns sends Rollins and Kane both over the top rope. Reigns runs to the ropes, teasing that big dive he does over the top rope. But Noble distracts the referee and Mercury grabs his leg. Kane nails Reigns with the right hand and shoves him into the ring post. Kane brings it back in and Rollins tags in to keep Reigns down. They trade shots in the middle of the ring and Rollins drops Reigns for a 2 count. Kane comes back in and slams Reigns for a 2 count. Orton ends up getting the hot tag and Chaos breaks loose. Rollins dodges the RKO and rolls Orton out for a 2. Everyone ends up on the floor and Rollins dives out but hard on the floor. Kane snaps and sends Mercury and Noble over the announce table. Oh, sorry. He decks Rollins with the right hand and rolls him back in the ring. Reigns nuts a Superman punch and Orton hits the RKO on Rollins and Orton pins the champ. So the winners, Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. Starts the match. Kane takes the mic and is ready to reveal who Ron's defense against at Payback. Orton looks on from the stage and fans voted for Rollins to defend against both Reigns and Randy Orton, which I think we all know that, the voting is rigged. They obviously had chosen the match already. So whoever voted for that is, I'm sorry, but you're dumb. So Rollins doesn't like, Rollins is, doesn't like the fact that he's going to be in a triple threat match, and he turns around and Roman Reigns hit a huge spear on Rollins to end the show. So that was Raw. We did get a lot more wrestling than we usually do. I didn't, time the matches or anything like that. But it seemed like we did get a lot more wrestling. Sure, some of the matches weren't really that great, but we had a couple of them in there, and for the most part, it was an okay show. I wasn't too into the show. I kept on switching back and forth from the Chicago Bulls game to the show. But from what I did watch, it was all right. Like I said, nothing too crazy. So I might be reviewing the King of the Ring tournament later today if I get a chance to do it. The final, how many matches would it be? The final 3 matches, which will be Neville versus Sheamus, and then Barrett versus R-Truth, and then the finals. So if I have time and I watch the matches, I might come back out here and review those matches for you guys, but I'm not too sure about it. And yeah, I didn't get to do the Extreme Rules pay-per-view review because I was out with family that night. I didn't watch the pay-per-view until yesterday morning, so I wasn't able to do that. But I might just do the review tomorrow or something like that for the pay-per-view. I'm not too sure about it, but we'll see. I'll be back probably on Thursday at the latest for the NXT review. Um, might have Paul and Piero back on here with me by then. If not, I'll be doing solo again, and might do a TNA review. I'm not sure because it's a Friday night, so might be busy. But if I do get a chance, I'll do the TNA review and probably get Paul on here with me. And then I'll just be back on Monday for the Raw review again. Hopefully I get to do it right after Raw. Uh, if not, then on Tuesday. But I'm gonna give this Raw, I don't know, like a 6.5 out of 10. No, I'll just stick with the 6, just a flat 6. It was okay, nothing too special. More wrestling than we usually get. Less promos. So overall, yeah, it's 6 out of 10 for me. So go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, go follow the channel on Twitter at Project PipeBomb. Go follow me on Twitter at Golden Eagle 0462, and go follow Paul on Twitter at Arabian Wolf. So from us here at Project PipeBomb, I am the Vigilante Mario, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you in the next one.